Right now, at this very moment, 30 million Americans are about to face something they have not seen in over 3 decades. A winter storm so massive, so unprecedented, that weather models are struggling to comprehend what is coming. The question is not if this will happen. The question is, are you one of them? In the next 4 minutes, I am going to show you exactly where this storm will hit hardest, which areas will see snow totals not recorded since 1993, and most importantly, the critical 24-hour window when you need to take action. But first, you need to understand something shocking that happened just 3 hours ago. Weather models just updated, and what they are showing is terrifying. We are looking at potential snowfall exceeding 18 inches across regions that typically see 2 to 3 inches per year. That is not a typo. 18 inches in areas where the infrastructure, the power grid, the emergency response systems, they are simply not built for this. Here is the number that should make you sit up right now. 6 inches of snow. Sounds manageable, right? Wrong. The probability of seeing more than 6 inches has jumped to 70 to 80% in some areas. But here is what nobody is telling you yet, and you will find out at the 3-minute 20-second mark. The real danger is not the snow. Let me paint you a picture of what is happening right at this second. Cold Arctic air, the kind we normally see locked up in Canada, is diving south like a freight train. We are talking temperatures plummeting below zero in the Dakotas. Single digits spreading across Oklahoma and Missouri. This is not your typical winter cold snap. This is Arctic air with a mission. Winter storm watches are already posted from Dallas-Fort Worth all the way up to Oklahoma City, over to Tulsa, extending to Little Rock, even into northern Louisiana. When was the last time you saw winter storm watches in northern Louisiana? Exactly. This is not normal. Comment below right now where you are watching from. I need to know your location because the forecast is dramatically different depending on whether you are 50 miles north or 50 miles south of certain lines. Your exact location determines whether you get a foot of snow or a 1/4 inch of ice that takes down every power line in your county. Here is what makes this storm uniquely dangerous. It is not just one threat. Most winter storms, you deal with snow or you deal with ice. This monster is bringing both. And the line between the two, that critical boundary that determines whether you are shoveling snow or sitting in the dark for a week, that line is still shifting. The ensemble guidance, that is where we take more than 50 different weather models and blend them together to find the truth, is showing something remarkable. The potential for more than 6 inches of snow is growing by the hour across Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky. We are watching this expand in real time. But wait. It gets worse. Flip the models to show 12-inch probabilities. That is 1 foot of snow. The computer models are lighting up across Arkansas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, areas that have not seen a foot of snow in a single storm since some of you were in high school. Now, before you panic, stay with me because at the 30-second mark, I promised you something valuable. Here it is. You have time. This storm does not arrive until this weekend. That gives you 48 to 72 hours to prepare. But, and this is critical, you need to start today, not tomorrow, today. The storm is spreading eastward through the weekend. Eastern Kentucky, East Tennessee, Central Tennessee, reaching back to Memphis. Once you get from the Cumberland Plateau east into the mountains, into Western Virginia, Western North Carolina, we are talking heavy snow. Serious accumulation. The odds in Virginia are climbing. More than 6 inches becoming increasingly likely. When we narrow it down to 12-inch probabilities, the risk zone becomes crystal clear. Somebody in these areas is going to get absolutely crushed. We are talking about 18-inch potential in the sweet spot. Or should I call it the bad spot? I do not know how you want to look at this. As we track northeast, trends today are shifting slightly north again. This is important. Look at this. More than a 70 to 80% chance of seeing over 6 inches along the Delmarva Peninsula, Cape May. But once you get up toward New York City, those numbers drop off. You are looking at about a 50-50 shot of 6+ inches. Can you imagine? From Richmond out to the Chesapeake Bay, out toward Delaware, a foot of snow is on the table. For areas where 6 inches shuts down the entire region, we are potentially looking at double that. The operational models today, just this afternoon, printed another blockbuster scenario into Oklahoma. High impact, more than 12 inches of snow. The numbers on screen are showing 18.9 inches in some locations. Will we see exactly that much? Probably not. But the idea of more than a foot of snow is absolutely on the table here. South of that snow zone, here is where it gets really problematic. Freezing rain. This is going to be a massive issue. There is high bust potential, which means the forecast could be significantly off once you get into North Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, North Mississippi. The problem is whether you end up with rain or snow, or more accurately, freezing rain or sleet. That will dramatically cut into these snow totals on the southern end of where this heavy snow band sets up. What about Houston? Watch what happens on the models. The freezing rain starts to accumulate. Yes, accumulate is the word, as it clings to every surface. The cold air at ground level bleeds south. Watch how it starts to get very close to Houston, especially north of the city. The odds of seeing some freezing rain are growing today, even more than yesterday. The models do not do a good job of accounting for any melting, any runoff. 2 inches of freezing rain in southern Arkansas. Even if you only get 1 inch of freezing rain, you are going to have catastrophic problems. Power outages lasting days, possibly weeks. This extends east into north-central Mississippi. There is a real chance we see freezing rain all the way down into southern Mississippi, into central and southern Louisiana. Not quite down to New Orleans or the coast, but frighteningly close. Look at the snow to the east. My goodness! The newest European model is printing out 18 inches across central Tennessee into Kentucky. The blended model data, which I think is more realistic, still shows impressive totals. But the fact that operational runs are showing this much snow is incredibly impressive. The trend is further north now with more than 13, 14, 15 inches of snow. Does somebody in this zone see 1.5 to 2 feet of snow? The European model this afternoon says yes, indeed we do. Across the south, freezing rain is going to be the main problem. You need to watch along the Virginia-North Carolina line closely. Models are showing big dumps of snow into Virginia, but if this system jogs north by just 50 miles, now you are dealing with sleet. Your snow totals get completely eaten away. No matter how this storm plays out, there is an incredibly high bust potential. I have said this before, and longtime viewers know this about me. I do not hype things up. It is not my style. It does not do me any good, and it does not do you any good. But I do want you to be prepared for this very impactful weather event. As this Arctic high pressure builds south, the question will be, where is it going to position, and where will that critical line set up between freezing rain, sleet, and heavy snow? I will be tracking this constantly over the next couple of days. Some of these snow totals may rival amounts we have not seen in decades in some areas. Some of you probably have seen snow like this in the past, but it has been a long while. Here is what the European model did this afternoon, and do not miss what is coming at the 5-minute mark. Before we get to the main event, we have other activity to track. Snow is moving through the Great Lakes tonight, into tomorrow morning. Another round of snow on the leading edge of that Arctic air diving south, starting to move through the upper Midwest. We will actually get some snow moving through parts of the Northeast, into the Appalachians, north into Pennsylvania, into New York, up into New England. Not a lot of snow with this, and it is going to move through pretty quickly. Northwest winds start to build, and here comes that Arctic air surging south. On the upslope areas of the Rockies, there could be some light snow from Montana down into Wyoming, as temperatures plummet on the east side of the mountains. Denver will see some upslope snow. That extends all the way up into parts of Wyoming and continues as this north and easterly flow pushes into Texas. Here comes the problem. Moisture starts to kick out of the southwest. We get the overrunning flow, and now the ice starts to break out. Freezing rain just north of the Red River. Then you transition to all snow from Oklahoma City northward. Little Rock, you are right on that critical line. Get up into northern Arkansas, southern parts of Missouri, it is all snow. The European model today keeps Memphis pretty much all snow. Up to Nashville, all snow. North of that into Kentucky, all snow. To the south, ice. Freezing rain. Tuscaloosa is very close to the freezing rain line. Maybe just rain as warm air tries to surge north. But once you get into northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, North Georgia, especially up toward Greenville and Spartanburg, that cold air is going to get reinforced down the east side of the mountains. This is what meteorologists call a Miller B-type setup, where you get that overrunning moisture. My question is, on the west side of the mountains, can we bring some warm air north up into Tennessee? That could dramatically reduce those snow totals. Now you are dealing with an ice storm that starts as snow, with all snow remaining up in Kentucky, into West Virginia, very close to Virginia. Danville is very close to seeing all snow transition over to sleet and freezing rain. Once you get south into Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Raleigh, it may start as some snow, but then you transition quickly to ice by Sunday afternoon. By Sunday afternoon, we have got a complete mess extending all the way down into northeast Georgia. Notice how warm air is trying to surge up on the west side of the mountains. A little bit of rain showing up from Chattanooga up to Knoxville. We may actually go from ice over to rain on the west side of the mountains. Further north, staying all snow up along the Ohio River. Our coastal low starts to take shape. Easterly winds pulling in moisture off the Atlantic at the surface. That could put some really heavy snow into the northeast. Freezing rain continues into eastern Virginia, southeast Virginia. Watch for that line to set up. High bust potential with sleet. When it starts to sleet, just know your totals are not going to match whatever gets forecasted. As we head into Monday, this moves off the east coast. Does this impact the northeast? Today's new model run says yes, it does. We stay cold back across all the areas where we saw the snow, so it probably is not going to melt quickly. Across Texas, we will start to warm up, also across the south, which is good news for melting. But behind this, it stays cold through the weekend. Chilly weather is unfortunately going to persist. And if power goes out, this becomes a serious situation. The GFS model from this afternoon shows heavy sleet across the Dallas-Fort Worth area all the way down to San Antonio. The GFS has had a bias to put ice all the way down to Houston into southern Louisiana, much further south into Mississippi too. It is colder to the north. I am focused on areas right along the Virginia-Tennessee line back into Tennessee with a colder look. More snow. This will get refined. We are talking about a forecast for Sunday, and it is only Tuesday. Time is on our side. The question is not, will there be a storm? The question is, where will these lines and these precipitation-type boundaries set up? Here is the blended model data. First, light snow moving through the prairies into parts of the Great Lakes. But look, what is lurking to the south? This takes quite a few different models and blends them together. It is not going to give you that huge output that the European showed, but we are already seeing this start to grow. Yesterday, all of this was gray. As we get closer in time, we start to trust this type of modeling. The National Blended Model data, oh my goodness, showing more than 12 inches of snow in parts of West Virginia down into northern North Carolina, Tennessee, and Kentucky, up into Maryland, Delaware, even southern parts of New Jersey getting crushed with more than a foot of snow. Southeast Virginia, I think you end up mixing and precipitation types change. It does not come as far north as the European, at least not yet. The models are not picking up on that idea. If you go back to the European, the odds of seeing more than 6 inches of snow are starting to grow into southern parts of New England. Make sure you are subscribed because we will continue to track what happens with this storm and what ultimately happens to these snow totals. I want to show you this. This is the newest GFS model. I do not even know what to say about this. I think it is having a hard time with mixed precipitation, but it is trying to put down nearly 2 to 3 feet of snow from East Tennessee into North Carolina. If you go back to the model run from midday today, it was a little bit further south. If anything, the GFS is starting to come back a little bit north. Here is where it was last night. Here is where it was this morning. The midday run went back south, and today's run is back north. Do not get caught up in each operational model run. That is why we started talking about the ensemble guidance, which uses more than 50 members to guide us on where the middle ground is right now between all the models. These are the sweet spots I am seeing right now. The odds of seeing more than 6 inches of snow. Watch these areas closely. To the south, the ice situation is just a complete mess. Further west, as this cold air moves south, there will be some snow into the Rockies, into the Four Corners states, not as much back into Utah and Arizona. Here is the thing. This snow is really just the pre-show event for what is headed east. Further west and north, not a lot of precipitation. We may get something moving in by the 30th and 3rd. Still very dry across this part of the country. Here are your temperatures. Look at that cold air moving down the east face of the mountains. Below zero temperatures dropping through the Dakotas. Further east, we start to see that move south too. As we head into Thursday, into Friday, the cold moves into Texas, setting the stage for that moisture to start moving back into it. Look at these temperatures Saturday afternoon. Single digits across Oklahoma, Missouri. Massive amounts of Arctic air in place. If it does snow where you are, especially up in Oklahoma and Missouri, snow ratios could get 15-1. I do not know if we go to 18 to 20-1, but when it is 0 degrees, that is pretty impressive for fluffy snow. Further east, I had someone comment asking how we are going to get ice when temperatures are in the teens or 20s. Well, here is the problem. Once you go up in the atmosphere several thousand feet, temperatures feeding in from the southwest are 32, 35, 38 degrees, in some cases over 40 degrees. You are getting that melting layer. So precipitation falls as snow way up high, goes through that melting layer at about 40 degrees, and then it falls into a layer at the surface where temperatures are in the single digits or teens or 20s. There is your ice or sleet or freezing rain problem. Look how cold it stays. We will take a look at the cold behind this. It is going to get chilly. With a fresh snowpack on the ground, it is not impossible that we could see temperatures getting below zero heading into Tuesday morning. Further west, during the same time period, if there are power outages, your highs are going to be in the 20s and 30s, maybe just the teens in some areas. Once we head into Tuesday, we start to see some warming across the deep south. We are back up above freezing, at least in North Mississippi, back into Texas, but still in the 30s, and it stays cold heading into next week. What we are not seeing across this area, at least for now, is a massive surge of warm air to really get things melting. Now, here is what you need to do right now. Today. Not tomorrow. Today. First, check your emergency supplies. Batteries, flashlights, non-perishable food, water. If you lose power for 3 days in single-digit temperatures, you need to be ready. Second, fill up your gas tank. All the way. Do not wait until Friday when everyone else is doing it. Gas stations can lose power too. Third, charge every device you own. Phones, tablets, backup batteries, everything. Charge them now and keep them charged. Fourth, if you take medications, make sure you have enough to last a week. Pharmacies may be closed or unreachable. Fifth, bring in anything outside that could be damaged by ice. Patio furniture, plants, decorations. Sixth, know where your water shutoff valve is located. Frozen pipes can burst and cause thousands of dollars in damage. Seventh, if you have a fireplace, make sure you have wood. If you have a generator, make sure it works and you have fuel. Eighth, check on your neighbors, especially elderly neighbors who may need help preparing. Ninth, download offline maps of your area in case cell towers go down. 10th, take photos of your property now for insurance purposes if damage occurs. The most important thing I can tell you is this. Do not wait until warnings are issued. By then, stores will be empty, gas stations will be packed, and you will be competing with everyone else trying to prepare. This storm has the potential to be historic. Not hype, not exaggeration. Historic. We are looking at snowfall totals in some areas that have not been recorded since the early 1990s. We are looking at ice accumulations that could leave hundreds of thousands without power in below freezing temperatures. The models are in remarkable agreement on the severity. They are still working out the exact details of where the heaviest impacts will be, but the message is clear. This is going to be a significant, high-impact winter weather event. I will be updating constantly over the next 48 hours as model data comes in and confidence increases. Make sure you are subscribed. Turn on notifications. This is not the time to miss an update. Comment below where you are watching from. Tell me your location. I need to know where you are because the forecast is dramatically different for different areas. Are you in the snow zone? The ice zone? The mixed precipitation zone? Your location determines everything. Share this with anyone you know in the affected areas. From Texas up through Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, into Virginia, the Carolinas, up into Maryland, Delaware, parts of New Jersey, even into New England. This is affecting a massive swath of the country. The time to prepare is now. Not when you see the first flakes falling, not when warnings are issued. Now. Today. This afternoon. Power companies are already pre-positioning crews. That should tell you something. They know what is coming. Emergency management offices are already coordinating responses. They know what is coming. The National Weather Service is already issuing watches days in advance. They know what is coming. You need to know what is coming too. And now you do. In the next 24 hours, I will have another update with refined snowfall totals as model confidence increases. We will know much more about exactly where that critical line sets up between snow and ice. We will have better information on timing, on when the worst conditions arrive in each area. But the message for today is simple. Prepare now. Take this seriously. This is not a typical winter storm. This is something we have not seen in over 30 years in some locations. The Arctic air is already diving south. The moisture is already beginning to organize. The pieces are coming together exactly as the models have been forecasting. This is happening. Do not be caught unprepared. Do not assume it will not be that bad. Do not assume your area will be spared. The models are remarkably consistent on the broad picture. The details will come into focus, but the overall threat is real and it is significant. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay informed. I will see you in the next update with the latest model data and refined forecasts for specific areas. Remember, comment your location below so I can provide you with the most accurate information for your area. And do not forget to check back because the most important details about your specific location are coming in the next update. This is going to be a multi-day event with impacts lasting potentially into next week with the cold air lingering behind the storm. Be ready. Be prepared. Be safe. The next 48 hours are critical for preparation. Use them wisely. I will be back soon with more details. Until then, take care and start preparing now.